Thank you so much, listeners, for joining us. Today's Elko Live is a very important well, they're all very important programs, we like to think, but we hope to our community, especially today, because we have our very special guest in studio to talk about fish, Friends in Service Helping, our fish here in Elko, and especially during this time of need, we may see things start to change pretty quickly within the next few days if we're not able to see some resolution coming out of Washington in distributing food, supplemental food, known as the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. Our guests today are Pastor Tim Royal alongside Reverend Julie Weiss, and both are very important to fish. In fact, Pastor Tim, you are the executive director. So first of all, I'd like to say welcome aboard.
Thank you so much, Lori. Appreciate it.
And to Julie Weiss, this is your second time around, at least here on Elko Live on KELK. Thank you. You're on the board of directors for Fish.
I am. That's true.
So thank you both for being here today. So we're going to talk about, first of all, if you'd like to mention Pastor Tim, since you're not new to the community, but new to the position, did you want to maybe introduce yourself for listeners?
Yes. So I'm the pastor of Impact Church here in Elko, but I am the new executive director of Elko Fish, as you mentioned, and our mission is to determine and provide for the needs of individuals and families seeking urgent or supplemental assistance in Elko County and surrounding Northeast Nevada. Our motto is a little easier to say. It's meeting needs and changing lives since 1987. So we've been here for a minute, and we have a fantastic set of four things that we focus on. And so, it's amazing. And, I'm going to say before I even get started on a personal note, there isn't a week or two that goes by that I don't meet someone whose life has been literally changed by fish. Someone who's standing on their feet, who has a good job, who has gotten things together, and all they needed was a little bit of assistance to get through a tough time.
And that's what we're talking about today here on our Elko Live program. Thank you so much, Pastor Royal. And Julie, the last time we visited, it was really your goal to bring groups and people together like Pastor Tim and organizations like Fish. You see firsthand the needs in the community.
I definitely do. As a pastor in town, I can't believe the number of folks who are reaching out to us daily. I think in this last year, I'm one of the folks who sends people to Tim regularly, and if I can't do it that way, then the churches will step in as well. But yeah, there's a big need out there right now. And so I look forward to this conversation and hopefully opening the doors for some people to have some resources.
So we do want to emphasize, Pastor Tim, that Fish is doing well, in fact, is ready, feels confident about handling whatever is coming our way in our community. Did you want to tell us about this grand reopening that's coming up the community's invited to?
So the whole community is invited on Wednesday, November 12th at 10:30. We're going to have a grand reopening and ribbon cutting ceremony sponsored by the Elko Chamber, and literally everybody is welcome to the celebration. So, we're going to have, that's during a period where we're regularly, open in the thrift store and so forth, but we're also going to be giving tours, information about our services, which you're going to get some of today, but, you actually get to see where we do what we do and what resources we have. And so the hope that Fish provides to our neighbors.
There are major components of the fish operation. Now, there is not, for some people, fish means the food bank. For others, it might be the thrift store. And to others, it might be client services for those who are staying at Samaritan House, Pastor Tim. And those are all areas now that you're helping to supervise.
Yeah, so the food bank, people don't realize how big our food bank is. So we give away 15 to 30 tons of food a month. So just to get, I think that gives a perspective. You want to restate that. That's 30 to 60,000 pounds of food. And so we also have a 21-bed emergency homeless shelter known as Samaritan House that is it's the only one between Reno and Salt Lake City, between Las Vegas and Boise. I mean, it's a blessing to this community. And I got to tell you, I just got the report this morning. We don't have any beds available. This is something that is, it's full. It's absolutely filled up. And with the weather coming up, one of the things that we're concerned about is we've traditionally, and we need the volunteers from our churches and so forth, because when the weather hits zero, lives are at stake. And we have traditionally, we've put beds in the hallways of Fish in order to get people out of the cold and literally save their lives.
And we did want to mention too, and we'll come back to you, Pastor Tim, obviously, because often these resources feed into the main mission. I mean, all of them do, the thrift store and the clothing closet. But Julie, if you wouldn't mind talking about what Pastor Tim was describing too, is helping homeless travelers, people who are homeless, who often, if they can't find shelter, they're in harm's way. Sometimes they move on to larger communities. But isn't it true that we also serve a lot of local people?
We do. And I also, I think it's important to recognize that, as Pastor Tim just mentioned, when the temperature gets down there, it's dangerous, but it's also, I would encourage anybody to go sit outside at night at even 30 degrees and see how comfortable that is. It's not a fun place to be out there. And so I think it's important for us as the community to maybe shift our lens a little bit and see our homeless neighbors as our neighbors and do what we can to help them. The churches are doing I think their best at this moment, but it's everybody's job, I think, not just the church's job, to help those who come to our doors and ask for help. And that's part of the blessing of being a part of Fish is knowing that if we're doing our part, we have a way to offer that to others and allow others to come and partner with us and participate with us. So.
This is the day in, day out work that Fish is able to accomplish in our community, and since 1987. And Pastor Tim, there is, with the addition now of the government shutdown, which is ongoing as of this conversation, which is live on KELK as of this Wednesday, but we also have people who are in need in many other ways in the community, not just the government shutdown, but with the suspension of SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program we were talking about, and there's some new requirements that will take effect beginning in January. It doesn't matter what community you live in, small or large, there'll be some work requirements. We're not talking about the political aspects of any of that. We're just talking about the realities of what people need to survive at this point. So,
yeah, and we're prepared to help people out. We want them to get through these situations to a point where they are able to be whole. As a pastor, I think one of my favorite words in Hebrew is shalom. And we think of it as a Jewish greeting, but it actually means wholeness of life. And that's kind of what my vision is for Fish, is that we would help people find that wholeness. And of course, we have lanes that we do that. And I mean, everything from if you need a meal in the middle of the day, you can come down for lunch and have a hot lunch. I mean, we serve over 200 a week. Our thrift store, if you're in trouble and you need clothing, our thrift store doesn't just sell clothing. Probably 15-20% or more of the clothing that comes in our door goes out for free to those who are in need. And it's not just the poor. We had a family not too long ago, and I don't want to give too many details, but their house burned down. They came to me. The insurance company hadn't come through because we received so many private donations. I can't give out government food to them, but I could fill their food with just the private donations we get. And so that enabled them to afford a hotel room. And there were 10 of them. So it was a big family. And so they were able to do that. I got them some clothing through a voucher through the thrift store. So I was able to help them pay for a few without actually giving them money. I was able to help them get through a few nights. And I'd say it's what I live for.
That's Pastor Tim Royal, and of course he is the executive director of Fish, Friends and Service Helping in our community. And, Julie, Tim's story reminds me that, this is a local community. There are local needs every day. Some of them are ongoing, but these are stopgap measures, right? And so there's a safety net in place, and that would be our community as a whole and our collaboration with other entities.
Absolutely, and I think that's one of the really, I've said for years that Elko is a unique place in that we don't have a huge, robust middle class. We have people who are struggling to make ends meet, and then at the other end we have people who are bringing in six figures, and I think that there is a real kind of, I don't know what the right word is, but there's definitely the haves and have-nots. And I think that it provides the opportunity for those who are well off, those who do have good paying, stable jobs, to be able to help those who are maybe working 2 or 3 jobs in this town and still trying to piecemeal together their lives. So
that's kind of the stigma, isn't it? That
is.
Sometimes people who receive benefits aren't working, for example.
Correct.
But many, or if not most, do have jobs. The ends don't meet.
Yeah. A lot of times you have someone who, one client I can think of has special needs children. And their situation is difficult because of that. He has a good job, they have good benefits, but they have extreme expenses that are completely outside of their control. And so that's sometimes we judge when, honestly, there's a reason Jesus said not to judge. It's not our job. We're not the judge, and we don't know somebody's situation.
The former director, who was interim, Jennifer Koopman, she told the story about how when folks, Julie, line up on the food distribution day at Fish, there's just a line of 100 cars or more. And that it was an observation someone made and suggested to her. They said, well, some of those are really nice cars. Why do they get benefits?
Absolutely. And I think that one of the things about that is we, as Tim said, is we don't know their stories. They may have just lost their job, and now they have a $600 a month car payment for that beautiful car that they're driving through the line. Or
they're picking up for their neighbor who's disabled, who can't drive down there to pick up their food. So, yeah.
So I think that's something that we, I think, as a whole, our community. We all as humans, I think, like to put our best foot forward. And so sometimes we don't know the real story behind what it is that we see.
And that brings me back to Julie's point, and then we'll tie in with you, Pastor Tim, about the special holiday events coming up, is that the haves, the people listening that say, wow, I could give, I want to give, how do I give, where do I give, right? I mean, sometimes we're just looking for the best way to give. Yeah.
No, I think that's absolutely true. And Fish, obviously, as you heard, the resources that are given out through Fish are amazing. When you can give out between 15 and 30 tons of food in a month, we obviously are doing something right. So definitely being able to come and help volunteer, or being able to make a cash donation to Fish would be amazing. I think there's also other opportunities throughout our community that you can invite your family or, take your children and come and participate in as well.
Reverend Julie Weiss is a board of directors member for Fish Friends in Service Helping, and of course alongside Pastor Tim Royal, who is the newly named, been on the job for a little bit, so executive director of Fish. And there are some giving opportunities, right, Pastor, and a chance for people to be recipients with these holiday food boxes.
So, just to add to what Julie said about donating, our website just went live with a giving page, so you can go to elkofish.org and just click on the donate button and just follow the instructions there and give to Fish. And, as we've been talking about, the need right now is very great. And so we need that. And Fish has to raise, just on a normal basis, $125,000 to $150,000 a year from the community just to break even. That's, in addition to major donors and stuff. So we love you guys, and we really, really, really desire your help to do what we do. And you've heard what we do is very worthwhile. Fish is a cornerstone nonprofit in Elko County. I mean, there's if we fail, things get bad, for a lot of people.
Well, exactly, and I think we've have been riding that tide and that wave, and people have been nervous about it because we have delays in grant funding, for example. Mm-hmm. The organization itself has had some financial burdens. But how have you found the community response to that, Pastor Tim?
Well, it's been good. We have so many great relationships, and that has been one of the blessings. Absolutely.
Grocery stores give?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Okay.
And I have, our food boxes, we're going to make that transition to talking about what we have for the holidays. And I find myself just talking to so many of our other nonprofits and also people in the community who are excited about what we do. And so our Thanksgiving holiday food boxes are going to be available for pickup on Thursday, November 20th. And then our regular hot lunches are going to have a special Thanksgiving holiday meal on Tuesday, November 24th from 11:30 to 1 p.m. And by the way, if you're in need, of course you can come get a hot meal. If you're not and you just want to talk to people that are and see how you can help, or just come down and talk, on that day you can come down and get a meal. There is no requirements associated with those.
Oh, you don't fill out forms or?
Well, we do ask for a first or last name and the last 4 digits of a social security number. That's it. There's nothing beyond that. And so, and then our Christmas holiday food boxes are going to be available for pickup on Thursday, December 18th. And by the way, that's a meal. We're prepping you for being able to do your Christmas meal. So that's, if I hope not, but if the shutdown is still going, this is a great resource. And of course, there'll be first come, first serve. We're going to have limited numbers of turkeys and so forth, but I think we're going to have a pretty good supply. We're in great shape.
So if folks, maybe the office or a civic group or a family wants to, sometimes they'll say, we want to adopt this as our holiday mission. Can they find lists of what you like to receive at elkofish.org, or what would you suggest?
So we're going to be, and I'll give these to Lori. I don't know how you could get them out, but we're going to be planning some times when we're actually at the grocery store. You'll see the Fish van there, and you go up and you'll get a list of what you can go in and buy. So you could buy for a family, bring it out, and or just buy what you can. Bring it out, and we'll put it. There's a refrigerated van. We'll put it right in there, and then we'll take it back, and we'll store it until we have these giveaways. So that's a piece of what we do in order to be able to do this.
Pastor Tim Royal is our guest alongside Reverend Julie Weiss, both from Fish Friends in Service Helping our Elko Fish at elkofish.org. I want to make sure, Julie, that we're including all of the things that come to your mind as you're thinking about your own congregation. In fact, you pastor 2 churches in Elko. The reality is that the food costs that we've all been experiencing at the grocery store are spiking. Neighbors need help with this government shutdown. Certainly that has exacerbated the situation.
It has. And, you know, one of the things I do want to say is that this community, when there is a need, I'm always impressed because this community will step up.
That's right.
Last year, I'm a part of the Giving Machine as well. And the Giving Machine last year earned over $40,000 for 5 local charities. And that's coming straight out of our community. That's people stopping by and saying, hey, I want to purchase this thing for someone. We have a very generous community, and I think it's really up to us to encourage and invite them into partnership with us. I know last year when Tim is talking about the grocery store, I had a lot of fun myself taking the list and running through the store and trying to figure out where the stuffing was and the corn was and buying all of the stuff.
It was a scavenger hunt.
It kind of felt that way.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I enjoyed it, right?
The kids
And
love to help with that stuff.
absolutely. And you can, and you pick up the little list and away you go, and whatever it is that you can offer. I was at one of the tables and somebody brought out a bunch of pies that they literally bought like 10 pumpkin pies or something. And, so, I mean, you never know. But I think that we have a generous community that can help us, both in Fish and then in our local other social services areas. I know that my churches are both right now working hard on how do we cover other holes. We lost Underdog Ministry a couple of years ago, and the need for food over the weekend is real. And so I think that that's something that my churches have been kicking around, is how maybe they can do something, especially during the shutdown.
If I could add to that, one of the things that we do have over the weekend is we often have a great deal of deli stuff, which is prepared food, at Fish. What I don't have is volunteers to go out to the camp and deliver it. So if that would be a huge piece, so to fill exactly the need that Julie's talking about there.
And Julie, you did talk about that too in your last visit, is that sometimes, maybe between the haves and the have-nots, people can open their wallets and then they go on about their business, but they forget how much that human heart is needed in person, those helping hands. You still need that kind of help at your church?
Absolutely. I think both at Fish and throughout the other, my church as well as other locations, I think having people is, that face-to-face, heart-to-heart is really important. I mean, yes, the dollars are what, make things keep going, but I think having the community support is important.
Yeah. Volunteers are, we kind of have a saying at Fish, volunteers are our lifeblood. I mean, we can't even afford enough staff to do what we do. We have to have volunteers, and we have a lot of them, but we don't have enough. We never have enough.
Well, because you have the thrift store in addition to the food bank, which obviously a lot of our conversation today is focused on food insecurity, making sure people have access to groceries to take home, to prepare. But the thrift store is also, which is a primary source of income, you need volunteers to help you sort the goods.
Yeah, we have to sort the clothes. We have to get them in. Right now, it's a rush to get them into covered storage so that we don't, the things that people have donated out of a good heart don't get damaged by weather. And so, these are all. I had volunteers all week that were trying to put up a shelter between two of our connexes so that we can keep stuff dry. So
using that, and then obviously, if you wanted to mention, Pastor, that Fish is home to those client services we talked about, because the goal would be to help them to become. Obviously, some people come and they've lost a driver's license, they've been living homeless, they don't have paperwork, so they need case management.
Yes, and so we do have case managers, and we're in the process of changing our client services name to Neighbor Services, so that it better reflects who we're not dealing with clients, we're dealing with our neighbors, and so that is something that is just it's really what stands between us and just a handout. We're not looking to hand out. We're looking to give people a hand up. And so we have great relationships with other nonprofits in the area. Vitality Center comes out every time we have a farmer's market and brings their mobile van, offers mental health counseling on the spot, and other services. And so that's the relationships we desire. That's how we want to operate, is to be able to help our neighbors right now.
New neighbor services available at Fish, elkofish.org. The new design website has gone live, and so you can check that out and support. And then again, mentioning the Wednesday, November 12th, 10:30 a.m., grand reopening and ribbon cutting, and the Elko Area Chamber will be there as Pastor Tim and the board of directors will offer tours and more information about how the community can see and then support the services that Fish provides. And Julie, I wanted to make sure again that people understand that all of our churches that want to can collaborate, participate. We've seen some letters going out. You've had some good response from people who say, sure, we can bring some canned goods to services every Sunday if we can, right?
Right. And I think that's the challenge to the pastors, to the churches in the community is you as the leaders of the church can inspire and encourage your congregations to participate. This is one of those perfect places to
make disciples,
to remind people of our neighbors, and who we are. And so I think that's an important leadership piece for our churches. I also think that coming down to Fish and walking through the facility and talking to people and getting to know some of the people there, hearing their stories, and I think it will change your life. I think it will make what it is that Fish does actually come home. And, because you'll realize that the folks that are there are just like you. They're not somebody that you don't relate to or you can't understand or, that is so far out there. They're just like you. And I think coming down and having that conversation, you realize that. And some people that's scary and hard, but I challenge people to try that and come down and see.
I love to give tours. Of Fish.
Behind the scenes is pretty amazing. Yeah,
it really is. It really is.
A lot going on.
Yeah.
And thank you, Julie. And of course, thank you, Tim. First names, but both are, it's Reverend Julie Weiss and Pastor Tim Royal. They are, shepherds of various churches, congregations, but coming together for this common cause. People, again, we see a lot of political commentary, whether it's in national media or on social media. But the reality is about SNAP is that in Nevada, there are 495,000 people who receive the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the USDA SNAP benefits. And Nevada gets about $90 million a month to issue directly to Nevadans to take that money to grocery stores. So the other thing to consider is that the haves, if you can spread the spending at various grocery stores, there's an independent grocery store in downtown Elko, because that grocery store serves a lot of the people who received the benefits. And if they're suffering throughout this time, they might not be able to make it unless they get community support. I mean, this is all part of a greater economy. Is that right, Pastor Tim?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And we need to support one another in every way. I mean, that's really what, I'm a preacher, so I put it in terms of the gospel. That's what the gospel is all about. It's love your neighbor as yourself, and within the church, it's love one another. And all of this applies to Fish. It applies to the businesses that we support, and everything that we do within this community. So.
Thank you, Pastor Tim. And that kind of support extends throughout the various congregations. You can look and see how many churches we have represented in the community. I think it's fair to say that the majority of them, if they've not yet been asked, but would continue to support or to step up, especially in this time. And Julie, I wanted to make sure you got to mention that there are some, I guess, live food opportunities to enjoy potluck and fellowship at your congregation, right?
There are. We have a group of folks right now who are working hard, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, but we are working to hopefully put together something for Sunday afternoon, possibly like a 1 to 2-ish or something, to be able to feed folks who might not have other opportunities. We also have Elko Pride meets at St. Paul's Episcopal Church, and they will have a potluck on November 15th and December 13th. Both of those are from 4 to 6. And as long as you are an ally or a member of the LGBTQ community, you are welcome. Come and have a meal with us there as well. And then we also will be hosting I believe it's our 3rd annual Thanksgiving dinner that we have done traditionally for the Samaritan House and the folks staying there. However, we will definitely be opening that up to others this year because of all of the needs that we are seeing. So those are just some of the opportunities that we have.
Julie, thank you so much. Reverend Julie Weiss, and she is sitting alongside. Julie is a member of the board of directors for Fish, our elkofish.org. And again, welcome to the position. We didn't mention much about Impact Church, but I'm sure that everything that you do from the pulpit, lends to this effort for people to contribute and, as you said, to consider their neighbors.
Yeah, well, I think our name speaks a lot to what we are about. We want to make an impact on our community, and our purpose statement as a church is people leading people into a life-impacting relationship with Jesus. And so, but I do want to put one final plug in.
Oh, please.
And that is coming up, our major fundraising event for the year for Fish is the adult prom. And that is on a day that's easy to remember. It's on Valentine's Day, February 14th, and Valentine's Day falls on a Saturday this year. So I would encourage you to save that date, and we will soon be getting information. There will be information on Fish's website about this, so elkofish.org, and we will be letting you know when tickets go on sale, and they sell fast.
They do. The first 2 events, I think, definitely sold out. It's a great time. Adult prom, just what it suggests. You can wear your frilliest dress, or you can really deck out in a tuxedo and bring out all the wild and crazy colors and just have a good time. So
that's right.
That's wonderful.
And it goes to a good cause.
Absolutely. Pastor Tim, I hope that you'll come back because, again, this is just the beginning of what we are going to be getting through together as a community. And obviously, Julie, alongside Reverend Julie Weiss, alongside Pastor Tim Royal, we welcome any time that you want to come and talk about these issues or other issues that impact the community. I hope we got to both of your talking points today.
I think we did.
I think we did, yeah.
And if you would like to reach Fish, I did want to mention that. They are located at 821 Water Street here in Elko, and you can find them at elkofish.org. The number to call is 775-738-3038. Friends in Service Helping. It is Fish, and they could sure use your help, and if you need help, they want to help you as well. Thank you both so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Lori.
Thank you, listeners, for joining us for Elko Live.